Hey, hey, hey there, woman. Hey, hey, hey
Hello,
there,
everyone.
girl.
Welcome to our BBW Asia Pacific Her Footprint. This is our sixth episode. Today, we are very happy to have BBW New Zealand Vicky Mee with us. Vicky, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Helen. Lovely to be
Uh,
with you all.
yes. Vicky has been a long-time member for BPW New Zealand, and she has extraordinary achievement in terms of women empowerment. And then I'm sure you have a lot to share. What are you best known for?
Thanks, Helen. Well, probably two main things. Advocating for women's rights and also encouraging women to start small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of like it's been working for pay equity, opportunities for women in the workplace, government support for the
Mm-hmm.
unemployed and the
Right.
disabled. All really important to me.
Wonderful. So we would love to know what made you today. What was your journey like from uh, being a young Vicky and then being a very leader like Vicky? What are your journey like?
So it's been a very interesting one. I was very fortunate. My parents were so encouraging. I was one of
Mm-hmm.
four girls, but they believed that girls could have a go at anything. So I was encouraged to try all sorts of things. And I actually went and studied geology at university and became a geologist, which at that time was very unusual for women.
Yeah, yeah. Geology usually is like a male dominant subject.
Absolutely. So it's very different. So I studied geology at university. And so this is back in the late 60s, early 70s. We're going back a long way. Um, I worked as a micropaleontologist in Australia. This is on oil and natural gas. And there were no other women in similar roles. So
Wow, you're a
it was
pioneer.
it was quite different. Um, I met my husband,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful man, and he has shaped who I am too, because he was deeply caring about history, how societies form, and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that people on the margins are pulled in and how societies work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I got married. I was working in geology, got married. And then later, when I became pregnant, I was training a young man, a graduate, to take over my role. And when talking to him, I found out that he was being paid more than me,
Wow, equal pay issues.
even though I was training him. And then at that time, too, from the parent company from Austin, Texas, of the oil company, someone was sent to Australia to actually look at all the roles of people that were employed and what their salaries were. And they did a survey. And
Mm.
after that survey, I got a 75% pay rise.
Mm. Wow,
Now, if you get a
75%. No way.
75%, you go,
No
whoa.
way. And you were
So,
still the only women at that time?
what was that?
And you were still the only women at that time who got this race?
Absolutely. And
Wow.
I had been quite naive, really. I hadn't really thought that I was being paid less because I was a woman. Um,
Oh.
but I did know that the senior guys in the department were taking my ideas and putting them forward. Anyway, so that was a real wake-up call, that
Mm-hmm.
survey. And
Mm-hmm.
I realized, I'd been treated unfairly. And it sort of sparked my fight in me that I didn't want it to happen to any other woman. So pay equity from then on was a big thing for me.
Mm.
So after that, so I came back to New Zealand, and this was to have my first child. But I
Right.
joined. Where have I gone? What's happened? Sorry,
You're still
oh,
here. Mhm.
I'm still there, but I can't see myself.
That's okay. I can see you.
Okay, so I came back to New Zealand and joined what was called the Society for Research on Women, because
Mm.
at that time there was very little data about women, there was no statistics, and if we were trying to advocate on anything, if it was equal pay or whatever it was, there
Right.
was very little information. So this was a voluntary society. We worked with universities, we set up our own surveys, and then we went out and interviewed people, put the information together. That society doesn't exist anymore because government statistics
Okay.
now do it. But at
Right.
that stage, that was really important. And it's really helped me understand that if you're doing any advocacy, you really need to have the data and the analysis behind it so that,
Right.
you can put your facts straight and be definite about what you're doing.
So
Um,
this is still in the 1980s,
no, this was back in the 70s.
70s. Okay.
The 70s. So I was still a young woman in my 20s, and one of the things I was asked to do was to present all the results from one of those surveys, and it was to a huge room of people. There were reporters there, and what happened was, and I've never understood before, the phrase about your knees knocking. And I was standing up in front of everyone, and my knees were coming together, and I couldn't control them.
Wow.
And so that was really quite embarrassing. I carried on, but one of the things that made me realize too was that I needed to be a confident public speaker if I
Mhm.
actually was going to be an effective advocate. So
Right.
from that, I really started thinking about how you get your message across. One moment. From there, I actually went into the IT industry, and so
Mhm.
and I widened my skill sets then because I was managing projects that was integrating what was happening across a lot of companies,
Mhm.
and they were very competitive. So it was where I really learned about the power of collaboration, how you build
Right.
consensus in a team, how to get people to work together. So that
Yeah.
was really
Mhm.
good learnings then.
But the
Um,
IT is another male dominant industry, the IT industry. So at this
absolutely.
stage, you're still working with men.
Absolutely. In fact, I can remember I was being sent to quite a few conferences in the United States. So I was working
Mhm.
in New Zealand, but these were IBM conferences, and I would
Mhm.
say 95% men in the room. Yeah,
Right. Right. I can imagine that.
so it's still a very different. So I've always worked in those sort of environments.
Mhm.
Um, but then in 2003, my life changed majorly
Mhm.
because my
Mhm.
husband got a brain tumor. And we
Mhm.
had an orchard, our own
Mhm.
family business. And so I cared for him till he passed away. And
Mhm.
then I was back building that orchard business. So that's
Right.
where running your own business, all the skills about how you handle tax, how you do all those things. I
Wow.
had to get in and learn.
Wow.
So, and it was then, because it was a difficult time, a member of our local BPW club invited me
Mm-hmm.
to come to a
Mm.
meeting.
Wow.
And that was wonderful time meeting other women, because I literally had lived often in a very male world. And so to go
Yes.
to BPW and meet all
Yes.
these women, and many of them having similar ideas and good to talk to, and then finding out about what BPW New Zealand did in that advocacy
Mm-hmm.
space was, I just got hooked. And so
Mm-hmm.
then I became involved in the work we were doing about presenting submissions to government, trying to change laws, working
Right.
on pay equity
Right.
campaigns. I got
Right.
hooked.
That's great. So, what is the equal paid status now in New Zealand? What was the equal pay dates roughly?
So we do equal pay based on how many days of the year a woman
Yes.
doesn't get paid. And so
Right.
back in about 2010, it would
Mhm.
have been to about the 20th of February, but
Right.
we've gradually pulled it back, and now
Mhm.
it's the first week in February, or it could be even the last week of January.
Right.
So our equal, that gender pay gap is decreasing, but
That's great.
it's been slow progress.
Wonderful to hear that. So, you have changed quite a few different turn in your journeys, and then I'm sure that you met many interesting people along the
Absolutely.
journey.
And
Yeah.
actually, I've done more changes, because I ran the orchard for 6 years. I learned all about fruit
Mhm.
growing in New Zealand and new varieties and things. And then I've
Yeah.
changed to becoming a
Mm.
financial mentor and a business coach. So
Wow.
um,
Okay.
there is no straight line here at all, but you
Wow.
do
Really no
build
limit.
on all your different skills. Yeah.
Uh, so, who do you think can follow your footsteps? S- Women's who have similar challenges, or women in the male dominant industry, or or what kind of other women do you think you can help them?
So I must say, I have been quite careful after I stopped being president of BPW New Zealand to try and step back and
Hmm.
um, encourage others to step forward. I do think
Hmm.
that, oh, well, I can see in New Zealand there's a lot of younger women who are doing wonderful things. I mean, even
Hmm.
my own club, my
Hmm.
president is way younger than me, but she is very
Hmm.
much involved. Um,
Hmm.
so this is Helen Borky, who might know. She's
Hmm.
on pay equity
Yes.
roles now,
Right.
um,
Right.
and doing a great job. So I can see there's a lot of women, and I don't think actually age
Hmm.
matters so much.
Hmm.
It's how much fire you've
Yeah.
got in your belly and whether you've got the energy and you really want to push things.
That's a great news. Yeah. Besides pay equity issues, what are the issues that BPW New Zealand are pushing for?
Okay, I would, before I leave pay equity, I would say though that New Zealand has gone backwards badly this year, because we
Wow.
had a lot of processes that were working well, and then new legislation came in this year in May, and it stopped a lot of pay equity claims going forward. So there is a lot of anger through New Zealand about what the current government is doing. And it probably reflects also on a worldwide push. We see this in a lot of countries, that there's been some pushback on a lot of these equity issues. So it is difficult at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
But sorry, I digressed a bit. You were asking about other issues, is that right?
I was asking, who do you think can follow your footsteps?
Right, and there are so many people who are doing wonderful things, advocating. I think, like when I look at the UN Women's Empowerment Principles,
Right.
like I was chair of that committee for 6 years here in New Zealand, and it is, I mean, those principles are just so key. If companies adopt them, then
Right.
they really help open opportunities for women. So
Yeah.
again, I'd encourage so many people to find out about them. And it's not just being on a committee. It's about if you're in a workplace and they haven't adopted those women's empowerment principles, finding out and then seeing if you can have an influence in your own workplace to get some of these policies in place. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. The last questions. I mean, interesting to know that what kind of advice you will give to BPW young members or members around the world.
Yeah. So I think one of the most important things is just to remember that one of the things BPW does really well is to unlock women's potential. That when you look around at the group of women, so many who are there have potential to do amazing things if we
Yes.
encourage and support. So that would be the first thing, to look to how to unlock your own potential, but also see what can I do to help others. And then I thought about it. There's about another 5 things which I'll go through about key things I think I've learned and advice. And certainly as far as when you're advocating for others, and it's what I touched on, making sure you do your research, you've got your facts, you actually understand the issues. Talk to people so you've got great stories, because if you can ground it in reality in some woman's story of why this is so important, then you can pull your audience in and make a greater impact. So that would be one thing. And another, which is more general, not about advocacy as such, but is that it's really important to under-promise and over-deliver. So whatever you do, don't commit to more than you are capable of doing.
That's a very good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you want to build up trust with others, keep what you promise to a minimum. You under-promise and then try and over-deliver, do more. And that way you build up trust, you build up a reputation as being someone others want to work with, and it really helps. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's right. Can I have another
Any more
couple or not?
advice?
Yeah.
Sure.
Another one would be about knowing when to cut your losses. That sometimes you start on a path and it just doesn't work. And I think a key part of wisdom is really understanding at what point you say, okay, stop. And rather than see it as failure, that it's so important to review and see what could have been done better, or maybe you've just got to change tack. But not being afraid to do it, that is really important. And I think too, another thing that's important is being able to ask others to join you. So if you've got an idea, you want it to happen, you literally
Right.
tap someone on the shoulder and say, will you work with me on this? And this is what it's about. And
Right.
then, because if you can share your enthusiasm and your energy with someone, there's so much more strength, and then you can build it up, and that collaboration makes such a difference. So that, and also if you're working with others, then you have some fun and laughter on the way too, and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it
Right.
keeps
That's very
the whole
important.
thing going. Yeah,
Yes. Okay, so that's all? The 5 points?
that's more or less my 5 points.
Okay,
Yes.
that's wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing your long journey of life, and then how do you come to who you are today? And then you have provided many wonderful advice to our BPW, the young members and members around the world. Thank you very much, Vicky, for sharing. I look forward to seeing you in other BPW events.
I'm sure you will, Herlin, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Yeah, that's
Thank
lovely.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hey, hey.